Hello and welcome to the 8th Annual Mosaic International South Asian Film Festival, MISAFF, presented by the Canadian Community Arts Initiative, CCAI. My name is Arshad Khan and I'm the festival director. Welcome to our closing night virtual red carpet gala with the fantastic team of Zindagi Tamasha, Circus of Life, a film from Pakistan. With me today, first of all, is Anya McKenzie, the former festival co-director and now the CCAI board member for MISAFF.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the virtual red carpet closing gala. Like Arshad said, I'm very pleased to be here today and representing the CCAI board. And it is my genuine pleasure to see all of these lovely faces joining us from Pakistan for this amazing film. So congratulations. And I also want to recognize Asma Mahmood, who is the artistic director of CCAI, who is with us today on our virtual red carpet. So what a tour de force, and we couldn't do it without Asma and the whole board. So please join us, Asma.
Thank you very much, Anya McKenzie, and welcome everybody on behalf of the Board of Directors of Canadian Community Arts Initiative. I'm very pleased to have all of you here for the virtual red carpet for MISAFF 2020. The Canadian Community Arts Initiative is a non-for-profit organization registered in Canada, and we put together Mosaic Festival, outdoor festival, which celebrated 15th anniversary this year, and Rock the Coliseum Indie Music Festival. And MISAFF is the film component. We are very grateful to City of Mississauga, Culture Division, Canada Council, Ontario Arts Council, and all our funders and sponsors and supporters for our projects. So congratulations once again for a wonderful film that you are showing through MISAFF to our audience, bringing the world together in these tough times. Thank you very much and enjoy the show. Thank you, Arshad Khan and Anya McKenzie.
We'd like to thank all our wonderful festival supporters, starting with the Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF, for giving us their platform for launching our festival and having our festival shared with our audiences this year. We also want to thank the Real World Film Festival, as well as Real Asian Film Festival and the Festival du Nouveau Cinema for co-presenting lots of our films with us this year.
I guess I can jump in and say that we have the best food sponsor ever. And we'd like to thank Karai Boys for their special support of us on our digital platform and for MISAFF in general. And you have to try their food. And also, one other industry sponsor that we really must thank is Telefilm Canada. And we couldn't do MISAFF Digital without Telefilm support. So thank you so much. Arshad.
Thank you so much to all our wonderful sponsors, also especially to our viewers and our wonderful festival followers who have been sharing the news, liking our page and spreading the word on social media. Now, without much further ado, it is my honor to introduce the stars of the red carpet this evening, starting with the amazing, fantastic director from Pakistan, multiple award-winning director who has made many, many beautiful films that have been seen world over and has made a most courageous film called Circus of Life, Zindagi Tamasha. Please give a warm welcome to Sarmad Khoosat. Welcome.
Thank you, Arshad. Thank you, Asmapa. Thank you, Anya. And I would like to begin with a really heartfelt note of gratitude to everyone who's making possible that stories that we try and tell through cinema, they make them sort of, reach people. And festivals at that, and for films like Zindagi Tamasha and a lot of other cinema, I think it's very important to find an audience. And whereas it takes an army literally to make a film, I think it takes several armies to take those films to an audience. And kudos to all these festivals all over the world who have made it possible that despite these really unprecedentedly crazy times, we are still ensuring that cinema reaches people. And to be honest, post Busan, there's been a very tumultuous ride with the film. And technically speaking, this is literally our second outing with our film. And we are very, very pleased, very honored that, we're a part of MISAFF and such amazing and sensitive people who are behind it, behind curating it. So yeah, we are very, very happy, and we humbly
I'm so
present.
glad that you brought the film to us. I want to thank our festival staff and our volunteers, as well as our programmers, Shaila Khan and Sari Violet, who also were involved in bringing great programming this year. Sarmad, I will give you the honor of introducing us to your incredible film cast and crew, starting with your writer, please.
So, as I said earlier, it really takes an army to make a film, but these are definitely just some of my best soldiers who were there with me throughout the journey, not just through the production, but post-production, and post the fiascos that ensued. So some of them are here, but I'm extremely proud of all of them, everybody who contributed to the film. I'll begin with the biggest star of the show, I think, and that has to be Nirmal Bano, an NCA graduate, an up-and-coming filmmaker who wrote the film, who really, the scratch that I just impulsively and reflexively made, and then she fleshed it out in the most sort of humane and sensitive way, and I'm very proud of her writing. Then we have another great find, our lead for the film, almost a debutante, and I think one of the most incredible actors that I literally had the honor of working with. That is Arif Hassan, who plays Rahat Khwaja, the lead of the film. There are people you love for their talent, and then the people you love for not just their talent, but for also who they are. And one of those rare people has to be Iman Suleiman. An incredible up-and-coming talent, despite being just a face that I want to just look at, just a face that's worth paintings and literature to be written about it, but an incredibly sensitive actor. And I'm very, very proud of the fact that, she debuted with us in a TV project, and then she's the lead of the film. We also have Ali Qureshi, another a stunning looking man, a stunning representation of Pakistan. He's also one of the principal characters. Again, a very sensitive, very sort of, has that kind of innate thing about acting. He's a supermodel, by the way, here in Pakistan. So this is also his debut film. So it's a lot of first timers, and it was, I think, just a fun ride. Other than these, there were definitely a lot of other people who unfortunately could not make it to this virtual red carpet, but we represent the entire team of Zindagi Tamasha here.
Congratulations. Now that we have you all here, Anya Mackenzie is going to make a little announcement about one of our jury prizes and awards this year for MISAFF 20.
Okay, Arsha just put me on the spot, but I think I know which award I'm supposed to tell you about. So,
okay, the MISAFF 20 award for Best Ensemble Cast by the jury, consisting of Asim Shabra and Melanie Hadley and Priyanka Bose goes to
selected Zindagi Tamasha.
Zindagi Tamasha.
Ensemble.
For ourselves. This is our red carpet moment, so I just feel that,
So because you are, congratulations. So I wanted to ask you, we just wanted to, give you that really outstanding recognition, because our jury really, really loved your film, and we were all moved by your film. And it is a very important film, and it is also Pakistan's entry for the Oscar consideration. And so I wanted to ask you, how did you come to this project, Sarmad, and what made you decide to shoot this film and make this film? After Manto, I believe this is your second feature.
Arshad, I would really like to be very quick with it, and I would love to throw this question to Bano. I think stories find you. I do feel that, I mean, I've done a lot of mainstream television, like and at a very mad pace when you're not thinking about what you're doing, but it's like, a project after the other, and it sort of comes to you, and then most of the times you're not really thinking about where you are at or what you want to tell as a story. But with cinema, I think it was a very conscious choice. In terms of, say, like proper filmmaking or telling cinema stories, I am very young. I'm just about 4 or 5 years old with that. So Manto was an accidental feature, as I always call it, because it was meant to be a TV series and I distilled a film out of it. So technically speaking, as a film, Zindagi Tamasha has to be my first feature. And I think the story just found me. And whenever that little sort of, the seed of the story, it just sort of, was found, I shared it instantly with Bano. And I think I would like Bano to take it from here and talk further, if I may.
So I think Sarmad is right, story finds you. But other than that, I would like to add one thing that when I started writing Zindagi Tamasha, I had just graduated. I had just come out of a film school. And I wasn't just a film student, I was also a very angry member of the audience, the general audience in Pakistan. So I think with Zindagi Tamasha, I tried to write everything that I had missed watching on Pakistani screens. So I had missed watching characters who had both shades of black and white. I wanted to write female protagonists who were strong, who were did what they wanted to do, and like things like that. For example, since you have watched the film, so in Pakistan, for example, there's a trend when we show disability on screen, it's usually shown depicted in a way that it's God's punishment. So if there's somebody bad and there's a negative character, so they would eventually suffer from some kind of disability. So when I was writing Zindagi Tamasha and I was working with the character of Farkhanda, I remember that I wanted to write her character with that sensitivity and wanted to show her. I'm sorry, I'm not really. I don't think I'm making my point very clear. But yeah, I think with Zindagi Tamasha, that's what I wanted to do, to write something that I wanted to watch as an audience.
Your point is very clear. It's quite loud and clear, and your point resonates with billions of people because we need authentic stories and we need good stories. And you have gone and written absolutely something that is like heartfelt and that we all realize, as did our jury. They also enjoyed your script very, very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We are sad that Samia Mumtaz is not able to join us today, but we will move on to Arif Hassan, who carries the lead role and carries the film so beautifully. Now, Arif, will you tell us how you got involved with this project?
Well, you should ask Sarmad about this, because one fine day he called me and said that I want to narrate a story to you. I said, fine. I've known Sarmad for a very long time. He's much younger to me, but we are very good friends. And he narrated a story in 4 lines. And then he said that I want you to play this role of this Naat Khan. And then I went to Lahore and we sat for about 10 days or about a week on the script, and we discussed the script and all, did some kind of workshop, and then after a month or so, yeah, please, you're asking something? Are you asking something?
I will ask.
No.
First you finish, then I'll ask. I was getting things ready.
And then we started shooting the film, and as I was talking to Asma earlier, this was perhaps one of the best phase of my life, those 2-3 months. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. So, yes, this is all I can say about it. You ask me further if you want to ask more, and then I can tell you. But for me, it was a very euphoric kind of experience. It was very good. It was really very good.
I'm going to ask a question from Nirmal as well, which is regarding your character. And Nirmal, it's so unusual to see a Pakistani man who would be so in tune with taking care of his wife, and it's almost like he had so much effeminate aspect to his character, yet he was a full-bodied guy and a very guy as well. What was your inspiration for this character? Did you know somebody like that? How did you come to creating this unique character for the film as well as the song? How did you get onto that song? It's a beautiful song, though.
So yes, I think Sarma would talk about the music and the song, but I think as I said earlier, yes, I think I do know a couple of men. My grandfather, I would have to say, who were a complete, an antithesis of what we usually think men are in Pakistani society. So they were the ones who he would always speak in a very gentle manner. In contrast, my grandmother was the one who would be very loud and a very dominating presence in our household. So I think, yeah, maybe that he was my inspiration when I was writing. But again, as I said earlier, it was also something that I missed watching on Pakistani screen. I missed watching men who were sensitive, and I wanted to write a character who did all the stuff at the house without making it something, without making it appear something extraordinary. So we usually tend to celebrate men who do stuff like that. So no, I don't think we should celebrate them in that sense. So I think, yeah, with Arif's character, I wanted it to be very normal in that story world, and I think maybe that resonated with you or people who watched the film. So, yeah.
Nirmal, we know many men who are non-toxic and who are very caring, and they're loving, and they are not the masculine stereotypes. The problem is that's all we see in the media. And that is what makes your film so unique, is that for a change, we are seeing the diversity of men that exist in our families, in our friends, in our cultures, but that is rarely seen on screen. The non-toxic masculinity, the non-toxic male. And that also is in Ali Qureshi's character, I think evident, as well as the Adil's character. So thank you for writing these beautiful characters. I'd like to move on to Iman now. Iman, what brought you to this project and how did you get involved?
I think it was when we were shooting Akhri Station. This was about 3 years ago now. Sarmad said, I have a project for you. So be prepared. I'm not sure if it was the same project, but after I think 2 years, I got a call for an audition and I sent in the audition and I got the role, which I'm very grateful for. So thank you. Bas.
And how did you feel about the final film?
I found it heartbreaking. I was also in awe because I wasn't expecting it to be so visually beautiful. I already knew the story. And when I watched it, I felt like I wasn't even a part of it because there are so many scenes I had not seen. You know, I wasn't there when they were shooting it. So like for me, it was like watching the film and then making the film, acting. It was like 2 different experiences. It was lovely, a very sensitive, a very important film.
That is so nice to hear. What about you, Ali Qureshi? How did you get involved with the project?
Oh, okay. Hi everyone. So I got a message on the Facebook, and it was Sarmad assistant Sundas. She texted me on the Facebook, and I saw the messages after 2 days, and it was written that we would like to get in touch with you. And I sent the number and I text her, and she just sent me a script. It was 3 scripts, and I gave auditions and I sent it to her, and I waited for around 10 days. And after 10 days, I text Sundas that is my audition was good enough, because it was the first time, because I'm a fashion model. I don't know about the acting. and she said that it was quite good, so we'll get back to you. I thought it's not done yet, so I thought. So after 2 days, she said that Sarma wants to meet you, and I was wow. So Sarma wants to meet me, okay? So they called me at 5 o'clock. I think no, it's in the afternoon, and I was right on sharp on time. And Sarma said that I'm going to narrate the story, and you were finalized for this role. And I was, is this a dream or what? Because working with Sarmad is like a dream. He is so good. He explains you in simple words, and even if you are not an actor, you will do acting in front of the camera. He is so good. Thank you, Sarmad.
Well,
Again.
that is the greatest compliment that a director can ever hear. Sarmad's head is getting very, very inflated. I can see it right now. Arif Saab, how was it working with this ensemble cast for you? I mean, this is your first time working in a film. What were the challenges, and what did you feel when you came to set, and how did he convince you to do those thumke on screen?
No, it was not him who convinced me to do that thumke. I was, the thumkas were somewhere here, and from my very younger days, and since I've put on so much weight, so I couldn't do that as beautifully as I used to. But Sarbat saw me dancing on a Shammi Kapoor song a couple of years back also. So the most difficult thing for me was the language. And because I can't speak Punjabi, and with that accent, Shalmi tu le aaya, like that. So it was very difficult for me. And I was thinking after the movie, and Nirmal actually spent couple of hours every day. Sir, lines kar lein, sir, rehearse kar lein, matlab to get my accent, Even the dress master was also involved in correcting my Punjabi, and Samia was brilliantly involved in that. So everybody was putting effort into making me into a Rahat Khwaja. So it was everybody's labor, not mine actually. Working with Sarmad is a very delightful experience, and honestly, I called Sarmad a couple of days ago, and I said that somebody wants to meet me, and they send me a script and something, and I asked Sarmad how to avoid that, and I'm avoiding that. I'm not working with anyone else. I'm not saying that they must be very good, but when I was in my teens, I started reading poetry. So I first read Daag Dehelvi, and then Sauda, and then Faiz Saab. So after reading those, I didn't understand them properly. Still, I'm struggling with Ghalib. After that, other minor poets are very minor to me. So it is the same case here. It's very difficult for me to even imagine, working with Sarmad. I'm sorry, but I'm that blunt. So, because it's not my career, I'm not doing anything else. So if Sarmad will ask me to do another role, I'll do it. Otherwise, I won't. That's, I think I'm quite
well,
justified.
We'll just have to find some directors for you who will convince you to do more work with them. What were you going to say, Sarmad?
I was going to ask him, who am I, Mirza Ghalib, Daag, or Faiz Sahib? I would really want a designated point now.
You're Ghalib.
You're right. I should be Ruswa somehow. I think my
Mirza Muhammad Hadi Ruswa. Yes, after this film, it is Ruswa.
even
that, Asma?
Daag would work fine.
As long as बेदिल ना हो, ठीक है सब कुछ. लेकिन सुनो, मुझे गाने के बारे में बताओ. गाना कैसे तुमने चूज किया? क्योंकि मुझे महनाज बहुत पसंद है, लेकिन ये वो गाने हैं जिनको हम कभी भी हमने उस लेवल पे देखा नहीं. So how was that song? Who chose that song?
So Asma, I think, wait, just as I said, that, how stories find you. I think when you're telling a story honestly, then the elements also somehow start falling in place on their own. And with Zindagi Tamasha, I mean, as beautifully as the structure of the script or the characterization was, and it was very organic. Like I and Bano would, just keep bouncing off ideas and drafts. We weren't doing like draft after draft. We would do like, and Bano is very strange and beautifully strange like that, she would not come up with, say, the plot first. She developed the characters first. And I just, just to sort of inspire her, gave her two centerpieces, like, that scene where Arif's character breaks into dance, and then there's another scene when he does something connected to that in the second half of the film. So, other than that, all the textures and the contours of the characters he developed. So, likewise, I think we kept struggling with, like, what song does he dance to? And then I started sort of, recollecting things from my childhood and the Lahore that I grew up in, and, whatever what was being played on TV, or say, like, our driver who would take us every day to school, what songs did he listen to? So somehow I think this song by Afshan ji, by the way, from film Naukar Wati Da, Zindagi Tamasha Bani, I think this was just one of those iconic numbers, also because it was not a Madam Noor Jahan number. And as much as I love Madam Noor Jahan, like, I think there's been nobody like her, the ultimate queen. But I do feel that, somehow there were other singers who were, not as sort of, spotlighted, but they were doing their bits. And this number by her, and then Mumtaz is dancing on that thing, so it was a part of my memory somewhere. I'd seen it, not in the cinema. I mean, this is a film made in the 70s, but this song also almost has, like, I mean, technically speaking, it's a mujra, right? That's what the song is. The setting is of a mujra, but a film within a film thing happens because that character is an actor performing a mujra on a film set in that film. So, somehow, like, it just, as I said, like, the song also found me. And the pathos of the song, the poetry by Khaja Parvez Sahib, who's one of this, like, the most sort of legendary film lyricists of Pakistan. So it just felt right, to be honest. Like, once I mean, one of the sort of, the catalysts for the overall process of writing were a few YouTube videos that, I shared with Bano, that I came across, which were not film videos, which were videos of just regular people doing things. I won't go into the details. So like that, I just thought that, we came across a lot of popular songs, but then I was like, there were things which were popular, but not like mainstream popular. And that's where, I think Zindagi Tamasha Bani, Duniya Da Hasa Bani, and lo and behold, this whole thing about, like, how art was forcing life to imitate itself, and it became too kind of, ominous and prophetic in a very strange way.
Speaking of music, the other song is also quite, I think, iconic, and your soundtrack is quite beautiful. Can you speak a little bit about the choice of music for your film, especially the big song that is in your trailer as well, I believe?
Yeah. So technically speaking, I mean, it's a naat, right? And Natya poetry, or poetry written about the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is like, there's a tradition of it, there's a history behind it, and people have written it in many languages. But again, how I'm not very fluent with Punjabi, but Punjabi is my mother tongue. My mother was a Kashmiri Punjabi, and she and Abba spoke Punjabi with each other, but my Dati was Urdu speaking, so our Punjabi is really bad because Dati influenced the language spoken at home. So for that, I think a Punjabi naat for me was very important, because I remember, like, say, just the streets of the walled city where I grew up. And this Naat again, like having that kind of resonance that I heard it on every Eid Miladun Nabi, which is the celebration of Prophet Muhammad's birthday on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal in the Islamic calendar. So this Naat had like a memory, very strong memory. But also, like poetry wise, I think it is one of the most beautiful pieces of poetry, because as he talks about the Prophet, it is so beautiful. Like he literally talks about him. Pir Meher Ali Shah Sahib, who wrote this poetry, he talks about him like one talks about one's, like, the beloved, right? And the last line, where in Punjabi it goes like, Gustakh akhiyan kithe ja ladiyan. Like, how did my insolent eyes dare to even do this or dream of this, And that, again, in the larger context of the film, I won't want to spell it out really, but in the larger sort of plot of the film, how just those words kind of, spoke to me. And as the story found me, as I think Bano found me, or vice versa, or how Iman, Arif, Ali, all these people, I think we just kind of connected. I think likewise the music people, they're first timers, they are debutants, they just had a single track released until I engaged them for the music production of the film. There's a boy band from Islamabad called Sakin, and what incredible and unusual talent. And so, I mean, they just brought this. I mean, and with Naats, there's also this thing, because they're, the renditions are innumerable usually. A lot of people would have recited them in their sort of melodies or compositions. So just coming up with the new composition was a big challenge, because I said, no, it does not need to sound like a familiar composition. So I think that's just their credit.
Now, I also wanted to come back to some other questions with Iman and Ali and Arif, Asab. How did you prepare for these roles? Iman, we'll start with you. Like, I want to know, because there was a very distinct progression in your character from kind of a joyful woman to someone who is quite bitter. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I don't like to prepare a lot. I'm more of like in the moment actor. I mean, I haven't acted enough to say that, but like jitne projects like I have done, that's what I prefer doing. Sarmad prefers the word raw. For me, if I think too much about a character, I don't think I do well. The same with the dialogues. If I practice a dialogue too much, I don't perform very well. So for me, it's reading the script once, and then with the cast, and then just learning the lines on set. And then I just go with the flow. That's about it.
Ali, how did you prepare for this role?
First of all, I forgot to tell you that I'm very excited, and thank you for having us here. I forgot to tell you in the first time. And for me, it was not that difficult, because I'm Punjabi. I was born and raised in Lahore, and it was a Punjabi character. He's a Punjabi boy who was raised in Lahore, born and raised in Lahore. So it was not difficult. And as I said before, that working with Sarmad is an amazing energy. He gives you energy, and you start to act. But as a Punjabi boy, it was well, quite good enough.
And what about you, Arif Saab? I mean, you have you're carrying so much of the weight of the film. So what was the challenge of that?
Honestly speaking, I was living with Samad throughout that shoot. I was living in Samad's house. So we used to discuss a lot whenever we used to have time. But if that character, I know you've seen the film, so that character went into depression and rejection, and all kind of hate that he's been receiving, and showing that sad atmosphere of around him and inside him. Actually, I went to places, I went to incidents of my life, I went to experiences of my life, revisited them, where I would never want to go back again, ever. So that was a very painful thing for me. That is still a very painful thing for me to go to certain experiences of my life. So I went there. I stayed in those moments. I'm trying to scratch off my memory on daily basis, honestly, and dejecting myself, separating myself from those moments. But I lived them for that particular character. So yes, it was painful. I enjoyed that. Acting is a good thing that I've never realized that this is such a मजेदार काम करने का. But to prepare myself for that particular role, I went into a kind of quite painful, circle of my life. I did that, and it was because of this psychologist. Sir.
And I find that your role had this amazing freshness. As I told you, you despite the heavy set form of the man, he had a presence, a light presence, which was very refreshing and quite beautiful. So again, Nirmal, Bano, well done.
Yeah, it is all Nirmal. It is Nirmal. She wrote that role so beautifully, and she put in all the shades of life in it. And it was Sarmad who understood that, and Sarmad who briefed me. So I did what they asked me to do. I mean, except for that painful things that it was not acting actually. I was not acting in those moments. I was really there. So except for that, yes, it was otherwise the shades of the characters were written so beautifully and explained to me so professionally that I took it like that. I tried to. I mean, I think I'm an intelligent man.
Also, I wanted to talk about you're also putting yourself in the film in a very difficult role. And I think that it's interesting how your film is dealing with gender and sexuality. So would you like to speak a little bit about that, Sarmad? Because that's very unusual to see also in Pakistani cinema and quite courageous.
I just fear that, the more one talks about one's, if one might just say immodestly, art or the artistic expression, it kind of sort of, ruins it too. But just for the sake of it, I also feel that, like when you're talking about, say, themes or ideas, whereas we want to believe that it's a very cerebral process, there's a fair part of it which is completely intuitive. And with this film, because there was no pressure of a studio or an investor putting in his or her money, and so this was really like a very free experience. So I think we didn't let any of that sort of make it contrite in any way. And as the drafts or the chunks of the script kept coming in, and as we kept sort of fleshing out the characters more, the themes and ideas just kept sort of seeping into it, and that's how we maintained it. Even the tone of the film, in terms of how the camera behaves or how the actors are acting. I mean, these supremely talented people have been quite humble about their experience, but I think they were all very intuitive. They're very in tune with, say, just the basic idea that let's somehow be truthful. Let's make mistakes. Let's not think that we need to deliver the best performance in a shot, I mean, Arif, I did pester a lot with getting the accent right, but other than that, which only was a challenge because he's not like a native Punjabi or like a Punjabi speaking person. But other than that, I think it was just a very interesting energy where we were pretty much in unison, and that doesn't happen too often. I've been in this line of work for a good 2 decades now, and I know it was one of those rare experiences where people just believed in the energy of the project. So in terms of themes too, I feel that we didn't think about it in those terms, that whether we are going to talk about a particular topic here, or we're going to induct an opinion, and it just flowed that way, and that just made it easy. I mean, when Arif was rehearsing during the acting workshops for his dance number, um, I was rehearsing with him for my dance number, and I think just that was great energy. Like he's doing the old version of the song, and I'm doing the new version of the song, and yes, I mean, if it's about being courageous, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's not even courage. I feel that that's just such a burden, being brave and being courageous. It's just a question of feeling freer, right? And when you have those kind of people around you, they empower you. So I think in a very interesting way, how just all of us empowered each other. I mean, I do remember Iman literally trimming my kano ke baal. Like, she was not in the scene. Like, we were in the shooting sequence. We shot a sequence with her in the morning, and then in the evening we had the setup for my sequence. And Iman is there with a trimmer, like trimming my hair off, and just that kind of
Wow.
like. Arif was not a part of that scene. I mean, not a part of the major chunk of the coverage. Arif stayed till the end. Like, they were all there like that. So I'm just saying, it's not always a question of, oh, I am going to say this and say it in this way. It's more about how we collectively just make an environment which enables us to do things. And the script, the written draft of it, as much as I love to believe in discipline and regimen, and I believe that, one needs to have thorough paperwork, and this film took a long time with prep and all, but we always had room for, say, as Iman called it, the rawness, like if she changed a dialogue, if she mumbled through a dialogue, and if it rang true, it rang true. If Ali thinks that, only being a Punjabi was his talent, no. His instinct about being that human, I think, that person that he portrays, and so goes for Arif also. I mean, I don't think any director can ever direct an actor with nuances. Nuances are brought by actors only. I mean, you can't teach actors how to do those little delicate things. And they were all sort of, it just sort of emanated out of them. And likewise, in the dance, I rehearsed a lot, I'll be honest. I mean, it was heavily choreographed, but towards the end, I was like, I just don't want to do the heavily choreographed bits. I just want to be free. And I think some of the moments were completely improv type, and I just, was there.
Well, the thing is that the film is a very complex and very difficult medium and art. And it, as you said, it takes an army to make a film. And your army was on your side, and they were all working together in such an intimate and such a kind way. And that kindness reflects on the screen. Samia Mumtaz's performance is extremely, extremely memorable as well, playing the mother's role, and her, her dynamic with her husband, and her intelligence, outstanding intelligence. Can you speak a little bit about directing those two together and about their chemistry?
Ashad, so again, I think it was a very interesting combo, or a pairing to do. Like somebody who's as experienced, as practiced as Samia, and in such multiple sort of, disciplines like theater and dancing and a bit of singing and TV acting and theater acting and film acting. And Arif, who was just done like, I mean, just hobby type stuff before the film. But again, it was a question of just in the acting workshops alone. I mean, I could figure that there was a bond between all, not just the four of them. The film, technically speaking, I think was it had a huge cast because everybody was cast quite meticulously, I'll be honest. Like people who do not have a lot of screen time, they were all very sort of thought out and all. Samya, particularly speaking about her, is a very, very sensitive, empathetic actor who has like great training and experience, but then she exudes this energy which is so inclusive and warm. Like Samya and Iman, for example, like there were scenes when, I would be like, okay, go hug her or just, get into the duvet and this scene is just going to be you two just lying there. And it just felt so natural. With Arif and Samya, I mean, there's a very physical dynamic to it. This is a woman who is bedridden, and then, there's like that kind of intimacy, but yet not to be like, taken burden off in that way. Like it's still a man and a woman. Like she falls, she drops, he takes her to the toilet and whatnot. So I think again, I'm not sure if I should take credit for that because I could just be an enabler. And I think that is the job of a director or like a person who's just in charge of making that environment conducive of things. So between them, they worked it out very strangely. And not that they sat down and communicated a lot. We had like about 10, 12 days of our workshop, like on-ground workshop on the thing. But other than that, in the scenes, it was just like there were takes when the magic wasn't there and they would not question me back that, why are we retaking? And we will just retake and then they will get the magic. And I think in most of the scenes, the magic was just there in the first take. So other than I think, and this film has sort of solidified that belief for me that it's not just skill, it's the sensitivity of people that brings that truth out, I mean, the film became too long, by the way. The first cut was insanely long, only because, there were takes when I was like, no, I don't need to cover it. I don't need to. I mean, I had a short list on paper. Then I was like, I got it. Like, these people were just there. It was truth. Like, it felt so good, even if it was a long shot. And there were so many scenes which we just, where I would just let the camera roll. And maybe, and I don't say it in a negative way, because of the lack of experience, because they had not been like, say, in the TV industry or like, in the same line of work where actors get bored of the takes or they are kind of mentally phasing out of the scene, they would just stay in the moment. And there's so many sort of beautiful moments in the film, which is just from, say, the non-written part of the script, which just, that just connection when it shows. And yeah, so I think I just want to say, like, conclusively, this was also one of those rare occasions. They all owned it. They owned it in a very sort of warm way.
Yeah, and it's a good job that you edited the film, and it's good that you did that and took that time to really workshop it and then really work the edit together. Now, one of the most striking things for people, especially our viewers who are not from Pakistan or India, is seeing streets of Pakistan and Androon Lahore and all that, and your production design is quite marvelous. Can you tell us a little bit about, all of you, tell us a little bit about working in those areas? They're so beautiful and so colorful, and they make it look so interesting, the whole setup, the environment.
Can I ask Banu, because Banu was not only the screenwriter for the film, Banu was also one of the ADs on the film, and I think they took some real sort of, brunt of the whole experience. So over to Banu.
So, okay, so I think this is probably one of the first time that from like a very few people who have watched the film that somebody has called it colorful, because a lot of people who are from Pakistan and live here, they felt that this was very rare for a director or a filmmaker to show Punjab, especially Lahore, in the shades of grays and blue and stuff like that. So yeah, you do see the cultural thing, especially around that Eid Milad Nabi sequence. But for that the whole, I think, because if I speak from the perspective of an audience, I had always missed watching the bleakness of Punjab. So we had always, whenever there's something that's coming out of from Punjab, it's always bhangra, it's always vibrant, bright colors, and it's always very joyful, stuff like that. So I think uh, here in Zindagi Tamasha, all of that was there, but it was more in the background. I think the I mean, I'm actually struck by this opinion that they found the film colorful, because I think, on the contrary, we really tried to make it less colorful and less vibrant, because that's the very stereotypical way to depict, especially Lahore, and when it comes to Androon Sheher, and so yeah.
So just adding to what Banu said, I think yes, Lahore is a beautiful backdrop. Like I think uh, your native city always is a familiar setting, and you know the details and the little sort of nooks and crannies of your city. But I think there was one conscious process that I and my director of photography, that is Khizr Idris, who also I have like a long-standing rapport with. He shot Manto with me also, other than a few other TV projects. Was how to, I feel that Lahore is usually kind of exploited or just taken for like a fancy backdrop with the monumental buildings, or the the walled city, the detail, or the mosaic of the whole thing. And here I was like, no, I grew up here. I grew up, if not exactly in these kind of streets, but in a similar kind of Lahore. And that's when because Eid Miladun Nabi did fall in winters for the year that we were shooting in, and it would stay like that for a few years also. I realized nobody had shot Lahore in winters. And secondly, I was like, I'm not going to shoot Lahore like a tourist. This is not going to be one of those situations where I just go touristy and do B-roll, where you have like the jalebi and the lassi and all of that happening. And not that I have a problem with that, but because I'm a native and this is my city. So if one were to look at it as a conscious artistic decision, you don't see that, for example, anywhere in the film. We did really long takes where we would have to stage actions across, say, 5 streets in the walled city, and we had to block traffic and had to direct like actors planted on the way and stuff like that. It would take like half a day to just get like a minute long little just a walk of Arif out of that. So that was I think I was happy and at least satisfied with that no, this is a city with a character, but the character is just as sort of present as my actors. So as the film stays very quiet and kind of muted on drama and melodrama and colors, as Bano said, so Lahore is there, but the presence of Lahore is very kind of muted, and because I didn't exploit it, I feel.
Yeah, it's a very local gaze that you have on your city, and that's very appreciable by an audience that isn't from there, for example. And the colors are very evident with, Miladun Nabi decorations, and the walls of a lot of the houses are very colorful, and you've got these beautiful shots of the halwa he's making, or food that he's giving out, and then the trans character has very colorful outfits and so on. So I do understand that your it is muted. You're absolutely right. There is a sadness that encompasses the film, and there's a visual component of balance, and you feel like a consistency with it's not showy, but it's beautiful in its sadness. And I think you've used the winter landscape to your advantage. So well done. Any final words, Anya? I know you had a question.
So it's also our great pleasure to give you all another great announcement from MISAFF. Each year we award films the Sabine Mahmood Award for Courage in Cinema. And this year we are awarding Zindagi Tamasha, that award. And we're going to give you huge congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Sabine Mahmood was an activist and a filmmaker and an artist based out of Karachi, whose life was cut short very brutally because of her political views and her courage in speaking truth to power. And so to honor her, we created the Sabine Mahmood Award for Courage in Cinema. And other previous years' recipients have been Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy and a few other filmmakers as well. So congratulations.
I think you guys have done an excellent job covering every aspect of such a brilliant film. And so I don't really have any other questions. I think you talked very much about the themes and the backdrop and just what such an important film is for our industry and for international cinema to see, you know, this type of storytelling coming out of Pakistan. I wish you the best of luck with the film. I think it's brilliant and sophisticated. I hope that more people get to enjoy this film on commercial platforms. And, you know, that's kind of my take on it for now, Arshad.
Yes, I will echo Anya's sentiments, and on behalf of the Mosaic International South Asian Film Festival, I want to thank your entire Zindagi Tamasha team for entrusting us with your film for our closing night slot. Our audiences have absolutely loved your film. Thank you for making this film, and thank you for your courage and beauty, and thank you, all of you. My only last question for you is, what's next for you all?
Nirman Bano, we are very curious to know what you are up to next.
Well, I have been working on a couple of scripts, a short film script and a feature film script. But I think because of the COVID and there were no productions happening, so that would, I mean, if it would manifest at all, I think it would be in like in the middle of next year somewhere at that point. So until then, yeah, that's about it.
Ali, what about you?
Yeah, same. Because of the COVID, there is nothing going on right now. So probably next year, inshallah, things will come up.
Iman?
शादी होगी या बच्चे करूंगी बस No. Next. We'll go next.
Iman just said she's married now. She wants to have babies.
No. Please don't say that. No, I don't want babies. Not right now. I've read a couple of scripts, but I haven't really connected with them. But I'm obviously I'm gonna look at more work. Whatever comes, I'm not gonna say no to it. I do want to keep on reading scripts and like taking as much like, you know, whatever opportunity is thrown at me, I don't want to like turn it away. So maybe hopefully more acting projects, but in the meantime, it's modeling for me. That's it.
And Arif Sahab?
I told you I'm waiting for Sarmad's call.
We're going to try and convince you to work with other directors as well.
Well, thank you very much for that.
What about you, Sarmad? What's next for you?
So as strange as it may sound, because it was kind of a mad year for us, not this one, the last two, when we were doing post on Zindagi Tamasha, and we're a very sort of newborn film company. So we had planned 2 films, one after the other, like spaced with like a year in between. So Kamli is the next feature that I shot last winters again, post Busan. I just come back from Busan. Because of the Kamli shoot, I couldn't stay for the award ceremony of Busan either. And so that's what has been keeping me busy this year. We've been doing post-production on it. So we are almost at the finish line. So Kamli hopefully will be out. It's a very different film from Zindagi Tamasha in many ways. It's just like another story.
Who's in it?
Well, lots of beautiful, lovely people, including Sabah Kamar, Sania Saeed, Nimra Bucha, there's Umair Rana, there is another Iman in it. It's Iman Shahid at this time, another actor. And then there is a debutant actor, the male lead of the film. So that's the cast. It's sort of, I think, my reluctant sort of, travel towards mainstream in a way that, say the kind of genre that people associate with mainstream cinema, not a standard, say, masala film, but heavy on music in a way. It has a sort of a huge soundtrack to it. All I can reveal here, because I feel that this is such a home ground type feel. We've got like a rendition of an unreleased Reshma Ji song in the film. And so that's what I've been working on. And that's also, again, by a friend of Bano, Fatima, a new sort of screenwriter who's written it, who was the colorist on Zindagi Tamasha. So I worked with her on that. So that's been happening.
That is so exciting. We want the film and we want the t-shirts to go with the film.
Sure.
We wish you the very, very best of luck.
Thank
And
you.
to our audiences and to our filmmakers, to our staff and volunteers, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. This is the closing night of MISAFF, and we hope you have enjoyed this 9-day film festival from the 4th to 12th of December this year. Due to COVID, we moved our dates. Everyone's worked very hard, and our audiences have enjoyed our festival very much. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful, safe winter and happy holidays. Goodbye.